I lost the genetic lottery and I guess I can't do anything about this. Somebody's got to save me because I'm just so defective, I can't do anything about it. I got an email from Brian in Charlotte asking about FAI, hip impingement, femoral acetabular impingement, and hockey. He says, the hip pain I've been dealing with over the past year has put a serious dent in my playing hockey. What's more, everyone, wife, family, friends, seems to believe that my hip pain was caused, in all caps, by hockey. Now, hockey can make my hip pain flare up badly because it's the most intense physical activity I do, but do you think there's anything inherent in the skating motion that is just plain bad, stressful, taxing, or damaging to one's hips? I welcome your thoughts, Brian in Charlotte. So Brian, thanks for your message. It took me a long time to make this video. You sent this email a long time ago, and I did respond to him, and here was my answer to Brian. There's nothing inherently bad about skating. There's nothing inherently bad about doing yoga. There's nothing inherently bad about playing golf. What ends up becoming an issue is when we're constantly doing the same thing all the time without having an eye on the larger, grander scope of what our bodies should be able to do. So for example, if I spent all day, every day, just in this position, you might think, well, you'll get very good at this position, and maybe one day you'll be able to do the splits, right? That would be awesome, and that would probably be true if I just kept widening things out and widening things out. However, ask yourself, if I stayed in this position all day, every day, do you think I would be very good at other positions? Your answer will very likely be no. If your answer is yes, then I invite you to get in this position for the next 5 to 10 minutes and have a stretcher, a pillow, friends handy, some bottles of water and rehydration fluids, because you are going to be in a lot of discomfort when you start trying to come back into the standing range of motion. The point of this thought experiment, and maybe even physical experiment, is to show you that your body gets good at the positions you constantly put it in. So if all you're doing is putting it into the skating stride, it's going to get hopefully pretty good at the skating stride, but it will not preserve other functions that may be necessary to have hips that feel comfortable. I basically never see hockey players, have never seen hockey players just skate around in a deep squat. It just doesn't happen. Occasionally you'll see a goalie chilling out like this, but the leg pads these days are so tall and stiff, you'd probably be choked out by your leg pads. When you are thinking about hockey, there are definitely high impact elements to it, but that doesn't mean that you're damaging your hips. What you are doing is training your hips to get locked into certain ranges of motion. Also, you may not be doing enough to train your body to be good at the things you're doing. So a classic example of this is with golfers. There are tons of just recreational, casual golfers who, when they go to swing, like my golf club stick, it's made of high quality PVC. So they'll go and they cannot internally rotate on this leg. So this stance leg, they can't internally rotate on. So what do? They get to the point they can get to and then swing everything around. And then they twist with their spine to try to get things going, right? Or whatever other weird things they want to try to do to compensate. Same thing for hockey players. It could be the same for baseball players. If you can't get the motion out of the place you need to get it, you'll cheat it somewhere. With hockey players, I played hockey for years and years and years. I've taken the last few years off because it was just too stressful. But when you're playing hockey, you don't necessarily build the muscles that you need to continue to play hockey well. So I actually discovered over time that my inner thigh muscles were really weak, and that was really, and has been really negatively affecting my ability to skate. I could still skate, and in a straight line I was pretty fast, but there were certain things where if I needed to do a crossover or something, if I needed to get over this way, I didn't have the inner thigh strength to do that properly. And so I would just kind of cheat and get hoppy, and I wasn't able to maintain my position and then get going. Now, that resulted not in pain while playing, but it resulted in discomfort in my inner thighs, and it would result in discomfort in my hip flexors because those were doing extra work that my adductors were too weak to properly do. And then the adductors themselves were complaining because they were doing more work than they were really adequately prepared for. So by making sure you're training the hip muscles from multiple directions and really analyzing what you need them to do, you can improve your hip function and remove all those fears of damaging your hips. It's a really underappreciated part of sport, and especially when you look at it from the surgical perspective, that in order to get really good function, you need to have more than just training the specific motions that you need in the sport. Just being able to throw a baseball, you don't want to just throw a baseball all the time. If you're gonna golf, you don't want to just do the same direction rotation with your body all the time, because ultimately you will end up getting your body asymmetrically twisted and a little bit stuck until it's at a point where your body just can't handle being stuck like that all the time as you go through daily life. You do need to think about muscle balance, symmetry. You need to make sure that you aren't letting some muscles atrophy. And for a lot of working adults who have day jobs, who have kids, that's an extra layer of things to pay attention to, but it's well worth it because it keeps you out of a surgery room and it keeps you feeling empowered. It keeps you moving better for the long run and doesn't make you a victim and put you in this victim mentality of, oh, I lost the genetic lottery and I guess I can't do anything about this. Somebody's got to save me because I'm just so defective, I can't do anything about it. That is absolutely not the line of thought you should be going down. You need to be thinking about how you can fix things yourself. Whatever your activity is, look for the blind spots, right? I guarantee whatever kind of training you've been doing, you've got blind spots and you need to address them to make sure your hips are strong and mobile. If you need ideas, be sure to check out the FAI Fix at thefaifix.com. You can also check out uprighthealth.com/DIY for our other programs to help you train your body well. If you have the FAI diagnosis, I definitely recommend the FAI Fix, but if you don't, check out something, do something, watch any of our hundreds of videos to improve your hips. It's not just about bones, it's about what you're willing to do, the work you're willing to put in, and the time you're willing to put in. If you do it, things are good. All right, that's it for me for today. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this, and as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't.